Let's present a workshop today. Stop winging it. Why your leadership team needs a vision meeting now.
This episode of the Christian Principles Podcast is brought to you by the Herzog Foundation. The thoughts and opinions, views expressed within this episode are those of your host and not necessarily of the Herzog Foundation. Welcome to the Christian Principles Podcast. I'm Matt George.
And I'm Mark Zockoll. We're going to take a 50-minute presentation tonight and slam it down to 25 minutes. So we're going to get right on that. We're going to move quickly, but we're going to walk through the presentations that we've been making to some of our peers and at the different workshops we've been going to, at the conference we've been going to in this last year. And we're going to present it to you now. So let's get right on that. To do so, we're going to be sharing our screen. So if you do get a chance to walk through these live or see them on YouTube or Spotify, feel free to jump on and check it out as we walk through visually. Otherwise, we will still be, of course, having the sultry sounds of our voices coming through the airwaves. So you don't have to see them, but you will be able to hear us. So who we are, we introduce ourselves as, of course, Mr. Matthew George and then Dr. Mark Zockoll, and then we go into express thanksgiving for whichever educators convention we are at, such as the Old Dominion Association of Christian Schools Educators Convention, or perhaps the KCA or the MAXA, wherever we happen to be. And then we talk about our partners. So let's actually do that right now. Matt, who are our partners?
You know it. It's the Herzog Foundation. Amazing. We love Herzog. We're going to hear about them in a little bit. And also GradeLink, new to, of course, not many of us, but new to the pod. We're thankful for GradeLink Student Information System.
Like Matt said, the Herzog Foundation has been so kind as to partner with us. And I just want to bring to your attention some emails that we received recently from Sadie Elliott. Remember, as she says here, while the weather turns cold, our upcoming trainings are heating up. So before we're signing off for Christmas break, explore some Herzog Foundation Institute training opportunities in sunny destinations all across the country, such as special education in Santa Barbara, California, January 21. Board leadership, Gulf Shores, Alabama, January 25th to 28th. I'm going to that one soon. I'm going to have to. Cultivating top leadership, Gulf Shores, Alabama, January 28th. Marketing enrollment, February 18th, Gulf Shores. Special education, Dallas-Fort Worth. Dallas-Fort Worth again for academic student success. And board leadership out in Simi Valley, California. Each of these can be applied for even now. Make sure you jump on the Herzog Foundation Institute to do so. You know, Matt, we've really appreciated partnering with GradeLink as well, and we're jumping the gun. We're not even supposed to be starting with our partnership comments on them through a couple episodes, but we've enjoyed linking up with Steve Linkwood already, and just we're excited about what's going to come with GradeLink. If you are looking for a school information system, make sure that you are going to cpp.gradelink.com, letting them know that the boys here at the Christian Principles Podcast sent you over, and we would loved for you to make sure that your school is running as efficiently as possible, chasing its. We would love to make sure that your school is running as efficiently as possible, making sure that you are not trying to manage problems, but you're but that you're rather managing your school. So let GradeLink Student Information Systems help you out with that. Matt, you take it away from here as we walk forward into our vision planning meeting.
Yeah. So when sharing about a vision casting meeting, we're going to be extremely specific, as we are within the podcast,
We have
as to what we mean by that. So we are advocating for an annual, formal, purposeful vision meeting that is held at your institutions. And so one of the things, and I'm going to kind of explain this as we put this up on the screen, that it was really interesting to me at all of our workshops, people coming with kind of two ideas. One, vision is equivalent to mission, or we know that vision is different than mission. And so we want to see how you create that vision, how you operate, and how you put that out into practice. Now, I will say the latter was by far the minority. It seemed like everybody's like, there's no difference, guys. What are you trying to do here? There's no difference between a vision statement and a mission statement. And while the differences may be slight, or it is nuanced, or what we would contend by the end of this is that most people's mission statements are probably closer to a vision statement.
Yes.
And you could be more specific and get more accomplished if you're understanding the purposes of these two things. So we want to define what a vision is, and we have a lot of different definitions on the screen here. Organizational vision is described in terms of being an ideal and unique image of the future, a mental image of a possible and desirable future state of the organization, a business technology or corporate culture in terms of what it should become over the long term, and articulate a feasible way of achieving this goal, a guide to what the organization should become rather than a description of what it is. That's a really important one right there, I think. Ideological goal that organization members can feel morally satisfied in pursuing, the primary guiding force of all organizational activity. Others suggest that an organizational vision should be motivational, build self-confidence, and create a common purpose among those who are encompassed by this vision. What you'll see in common with all of these definitions is a forward-looking. Where are we going? What is this going to help us accomplish? And one of the things I always like to think in visuals, so we wanted to provide this with to our workshop attendees. That when in the area of construction, okay, a plumb line. Now this looks like a really fancy plumb line. I don't know if I've ever used anything. I think I just tied a rock at the end of a rope or something. But plumb lines are used when you're constructing walls to keep everything straight. Make sure that you're not building crooked walls, because we know that that's a problem. But building straight walls is only helpful if you know how they're supposed to all fit together. So we're going to suggest that plumb line is guiding the building process, but it is not providing the objective. So if you click that one more time, Mark, it'll give us another thing that we'll use in construction, but that's the blueprints, right? Where are we going? How do these all fit together? We're very familiar with blueprints, but what I'm going to suggest is that plumb line is what our mission statement, or perhaps mission statements, are accomplishing in our institutional construction. Whereas the blueprint is the vision. What are we trying to accomplish? There we go. So plumb line's the mission, blueprint is the vision. And another thing in navigation, navigating by the stars. I know my kids love looking up at the constellations and trying to find where the North Star is. As we've known, that's the shore. We know where north is. That's going to help us in our direction, but it doesn't really help you if you know where you want to get. You find north, great. It's wonderful help. But if I want to go north right now, I know I'm sitting in this room. I know where north is, but if I were to head north trying to get to my destination, I'm going to run into a wall that is right in front of me. So how am I going to be able to navigate around that, knowing what north is? That's where maps come in. So again, in this situation, that North Star would be acting as our mission, that vision, and that plotted out trail, or if you plot it into GPS and it's showing you the different directions, that is your vision statement. Where are you going and how can you get there? Okay, so we do a lot of this just to kind of make sure there is a distinction between vision and mission. And then I think we give some examples, and we'll go through these kind of quickly, but Tesla, their vision statement: to create the most compelling car company of the 21st century by driving the world's transition to electric vehicles. So where are they going? They want to be the world's most compelling car company. How are they going to do that? What's the mission statement? What do they keep coming back to? Accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy. That's very important to them. So sustainable energy. Amazon, where are they going? To be Earth's most customer-centric company, where customers can find and discover anything they want to buy online. A mission statement that they have is: we strive to offer our customers the lowest possible prices, the best available selection, and the utmost convenience. 3 different things that, as they are evaluating themselves, how are we doing? Do we have the lowest prices, or is somebody beating us out? And so they'll use that in their day-to-day, but ultimately, why are they making decisions? So that they can be the Earth's most customer-centric company. And then Airbnb. This one kind of blows my mind. Vision statement: what do they want to do? They just want to belong everywhere. They want to belong everywhere. They want you to belong everywhere. There's a lot communicated in just those 2 words. And then their mission: to create a world where anyone can belong anywhere. So the vision is even within their mission. and we are focused on creating an end-to-end travel platform that will handle every part of your trip. So pretty self-explanatory there with Airbnb.
And Airbnb really does offer a very simple one of these for us to grab a hold of. When we think of vision, the belong everywhere, that is futuristic. That's unattainable. That's impossible. You're never going to actually get there. So it's a perfect vision statement.
But
But
they
what you
also
can
include
do,
it. They also include it in their mission, which
yes,
again is reiterating that's where they're going, and
that's where we're
they're
going to go.
constantly bringing that back.
And right now, how are they doing it? Creating an end-to-end travel platform to handle every part of the trip. In the future, that may not be how they get people to belong everywhere. But right now, and for as long as it takes, that's what they're doing. So Airbnb we
Yeah,
end on because it's a solid one.
I wonder when Airbnb are going to get into the passing out visas and stuff like that.
Oh man,
I don't know. Maybe that's a little far-reaching. And then there's us. Look at those pretty faces. Wow. But yeah, our vision. What are we trying to do with this podcast? Our vision is not let's change education. Let's change Christian education. We simply right now, our vision is for us to be in your ear, our Christian school leaders here in the United States. We want to get conversations rolling. We want to be a part of your conversation. We want to be a part of your solution, whatever it is. We just want to be in your ear. And how do we do that? Our mission, the day-to-day to provide a podcast. So right now we're doing podcasts. Who knows? Maybe we'll get into holograms eventually. Offering support to acting building leaders of Christian schools via immediately practical, open 30-minute conversations between two principals. That's
how we're doing it right now.
That's what we keep holding ourselves accountable to as best as we possibly can.
Well, like you said, it might be holograms in the future. We'll see. So when we get down the nuts and bolts of this, the simple thesis of the workshop is leadership members must take an annual, formal, purposeful vision meeting. This is, we're not meant to be long form, but in our podcast, we probably should have got here a lot faster, but this is where we're going. Leadership members need to get away together annually, formally, and purposefully. So what does that look like? Well, so in this room, or when we're presenting, we're going to be asking our people, what's your school's vision? Have you seen a movement away from that founding vision? Have you seen reasons to prioritize this meeting? Or do you perhaps, as soon as I say you should have a vision meeting, even though you walked into this classroom for this workshop, perhaps, or you're listening to this podcast because you were interested by the title, perhaps you in your mind you're coming up with reasons you can't or you don't want to, or man, this would be tough for us to get away for another meeting. We're not actually going to do this. So in the room we ask people, and now we ask you, take an evaluation of where you are right now. What are you actually willing to commit to this annual, purposeful, formal vision casting meeting?
I would say that it was always interesting when we got to this point, and even a little bit before this, where we're watching our attendees just kind of getting onto their phones like, do we even have a vision statement?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if we have one of these.
And we would have ones to say, honestly, like we don't have one. I had to look it up the first time. We're like, hey, we do have one. Wow, I just discovered it. And these are the leaders of the room. These are supposed to be the leaders of the school anyway. And that's not to make comment on them other than to say this is something for us to consider because it's not across the board that everybody has one, or that those who have them realize them, or they're shared well enough, or the mission is less so. So we are going to take a stance that the vision is not the same as the mission, and we're going to walk forward from there. So first part of the thesis. Annual. We believe that this vision meeting should be annual. In so much that it is annual, it shows a prioritization of the school to the church, if you're part of a school, or of the school just to the larger group of stakeholders. We'll see that one a lot. In fact, the next point, consistent confirmation of value communicated to the stakeholders. We want our stakeholders to know that our leadership values our vision. You can hold us accountable to the vision that we have at this school. You can hold us accountable to what it says, because the mission, the vision coming out of this meeting, because that's where it would come out of. It's not going to be changed any other time. They've changed in this meeting. It's going to change any time. Would be the point we're trying to make, that our stakeholders should find succor in that. They should find affirmation and be excited about that with us, pre-planned into the calendar. If it's annual, our leadership, those who come into leadership, those who help leadership plan, they know it's coming. They can be ready for it, prepare for it. We'll talk that more later, but expectations set for senior leadership. The organization, the board, whoever else can be sure that senior leadership, they're going to be reviewing the vision every year. It's not just something they check off when they hit their contract. It's going to be done every year at this getaway. Opportunity to regularly reward senior leadership. This is kind of a sub point, but if it's annual and you treat it correctly, as we would say correctly, you're giving your leadership an opportunity to get away away, at least as leadership, if not with their families as well, perhaps, and to be apart, be separate, and be treated well. Next up would be the formal part of this. When we say formal, first up, we mean ministry prioritized. So we're not when we make something formal, even like the dances we spoke about earlier, or perhaps your teacher review meetings. It's one thing to go to a teacher's classroom and have an informal discussion conversation, but when you bring them into your office, there is value in that. There's value in that motion. We say the same thing here for these meetings. Yeah, we could do this in the pastor's office. We could do this in the conference room at the school. Yeah, we could. But if we get away and show value of effort, time, placement, we're prioritizing our ministry that much more. Tradition. And then if you're not looking at the screen, we have a picture of Reb Tevye coming up here. Reb Tevye from Fiddler on the Roof, of course, but tradition. Our schools are nothing without their traditions. I shouldn't say that. Our schools are stronger with our traditions, is what I should
Right.
say.
Yeah.
And the formality of this opportunity allows the leadership and the people under them to build tradition into their different roles. Here's a bunch more expected schedule and layout. If it's formal, if this is done annually, then our people know what they're looking for. And there will be people who expect, once they go on this, to have it repeat in a similar way if they value it, if it was done well. Expression of priority to all the stakeholders. If it's formal, if you're expecting people to show up prepared, dressed professionally, if you're feeding them, if they're asking people to take time out of their schedule to prepare and others to come to it, it's an expression of priority. Just like when we send our teachers away to a teacher's conference or give them professional days, we're expressing to everybody there, it's meaningful for us to do this. Preparation expected by attendees. Attendees do not show up without having prepared for this task, which again goes to you need a formal structure for it. So the secretary does this, and the president does this, and the administrator does this, and so on and so forth. Value communicated to all stakeholders. Already noted that one. Opportunities to pray over the meeting for all stakeholders. Again, this goes back to the expression of priority, but there would be no other time that we would, what other time would we want our people praying for us than when we're reviewing this high level, vision level, uh, affecting change possibly on that vision, or having have a mission discussion from the vision affirmation again annually. I'm rolling through these because the good stuff is at the end, but purposeful.
Mhm.
When we talk about purposeful, this is a prior prepared annually and appropriate prior prepared annual appropriate agenda, meaning the agenda itself largely doesn't change year by year. You know what you're going to do. The questions, the prompts we'll get to in a minute, they may change, but you know you're going to affirm a vision. That's no slight matter. That's a big deal. Further, if it's an appropriate agenda, you're keeping away the opportunities for personal care or personal cares or personal issues to be kept out of the agenda. You're setting the goal that we're not here for low level stuff. So there's evidence of personal care for the attendees properly, in so much that you are saying we're not going to waste your time on low level things. We are going to keep this where it should be. Affirmation of foundational documentation. In our accreditation review, we affirm that we review and talk about our founding documents and our mission, our vision, and our mission at least once a year. If we operate off a mission once a year. So this is a formalized annual opportunity for us to make sure we have that note and write it down. And this is how we do it. Further, it demands a recommitment of critical alignment among leadership. How many of you have had leadership changeover? How many of you have a young leader who has made a mistake and needs to realign? How many of you have old leadership who haven't looked at their vision in a long time? They could be in a rut. This annual affirmation should keep it fresh in people's mind. Value communicated to all stakeholders. Each time we've had the slide, we've noted this opportunity for creativity, for confidentiality, and for continuing for continuity across changing leaders. A lot of us have had a lot of change, either in growth, perhaps in just creation of our schools, or a change from a church school to a non-denom independent school, whatever it happens to be. These meetings keep the leaders in line, and that's a huge deal. Are these in alignment, I should say, not in line. So, Matt, anything you really want to bring up? We're flying through this, but on those 3 points, the annual, professional, formal.
Yeah, the big takeaway, I think, just to squeeze all three together, is obviously, I think the more that you do this and you do it well, you do it appropriately, I think it's going to be a time of year that we look forward to as building leaders, because it's our opportunity. Maybe, I don't know what kind of support you have in your ministry, But this is definitely the time where you're going to be able to communicate the support that you need, because what are you trying to accomplish? We're all heading down this road, and you just mentioned a lot of changing things, a lot of change. There is no harm in a changing vision as long as it is changing because there is a change in your ministry. We just had a changeover of pastoral leadership. Perhaps you just completed a major building project that has allowed for enrollment to drastically change. Well, hopefully all those things are lining up with what your vision was beforehand, but now because of the new opportunities, put it that way, maybe it's time to nuance that vision a little bit more.
At the
Um,
very least, more than likely, your mission is going to change because perhaps previously you were through eighth grade, and so your mission would have been to provide an awesome education from
yeah,
K through eighth grade. But now you're doing it through 12th grade, so you're to meet your ultimate um, educate the
it,
entirety of Wycomico County with Christ in mind. Now you're going to offer more to them.
yeah. And we would spend a lot of time in these workshops, because we would get these looks like, I still don't get it. I think vision and mission are the same thing, and we would discuss that at length. And one of the things that I would contend is your mission, and potentially even multiple missions within your ministry, are probably more prone and ought to change more often
Hmm.
than your vision would. But
Absolutely.
I still think there are gonna come points and times, and I would think perhaps maybe more significant points in which you're going to be amending or changing your vision, depending on, this would be kind of, I would think more so of we're going to change over from a closed enrollment to an open enrollment
Hmm.
because we're no longer just, I don't know, sustaining, a ministry to our membership or something like that, but now we're
Hmm.
going to be more evangelistic,
It's
and we
absolutely.
want to, so that's going to be a little bit more far reaching in the
Hmm.
sense of we want to reach more lives with the gospel, and whatever else, and that's just a
And
random
and
idea,
even
but
for others, if they do hold their mission as their utmost statement, well, there's something under your mission then, because at that point, your mission won't guide your everyday. It will guide you ultimately, but it's not going to be small enough to guide you appropriately. We'll just say year by year, annually. So whatever
yeah.
you call your submission. Moving on though, for lack of time. So what does this look like? This looks like a very focused agenda. It's not random. It's not low level. There are no
No.
personal items. You tell Grandpa what's his name to take his thoughts of his grandkids getting demerits and leave them away from us. Well, that's not what we talk about these. And there should be someone able in those meetings to offer some level of guidance slash rebuke if those things come up, because this has to be given the credence it deserves. No bigger statement should be made throughout the entire year than in this meeting. This meeting is the big kahuna. People, like we said earlier, they should be free to be creative. They should be free to make statements in whatever the hierarchy allows for. And the leaders need to have some thick skin, because what we're going to talk about soon. Preparation expected, including prompts. And these prompts are coming. No outside work at this meeting.
Yeah.
The professional lives stay away. If they're from if it's a board member, their professional lives stay away. A full day is reserved for this with a consideration for more. In my past, this was a closed door, bring in lunch, we're sitting down for as long as it takes sort of meeting.
Mhm.
Off campus location, we would say go find yourself a place off campus so that no one's bothering you, because people will find a way to get in that door if you stay on campus, and for many other reasons that we've already talked about, giving it priority, showing people it's formal, showing people you care about them, sending away to a hotel conference center with their families. All senior leaders responsible for vision. All senior leaders responsible for vision should be here. Your administrator, head of school, if you have some principals with you want to take with you, the board president, at least it's not the whole board, and a pastor perhaps. The lead pastor more than likely would be there if it's a campus situation. All the senior leaders who can affect the literal changing of that vision should be involved in this meeting. And preparation is absolutely expected. If you want us to come run this for you, just let us know. We hire out, so talk to us. What are some of the prompts? So what would we be asking on that day? What are some questions we'd ask that day? You see them on the screen if you're looking for it, but I'll read through a few and then Matt can comment. How does our school's vision reflect and extend the mission of Faith Baptist Church? Is the vision as it's written what we want it to be moving forward? That's a big question. Coming out of COVID, a lot of you changed. Is it still what you want it to be? Did the school, since our last meeting, advance our mission and vision with specifics? This is where people do their homework. They have to come in prepared to answer this question. So they have to know this question beforehand, which means to be formal, which means they need to have the agenda out formal, like they had it formally and ahead of time last year, so on and so forth. What did we get wrong last year? Citing specifics from the data retrieved, that you retrieved that data for the purpose of this meeting, which means you thought about this meeting before the meeting occurred. What are specific obstacles do we see as hindering the vision for the upcoming year? How will we overcome those specific obstacles? Where are we weakest in the pursuit of our vision? How do we overcome those weaknesses? What impossible ask are we seeking in faith in unison concerning that vision? I love that question. Can we prove that every financial outlay of our school pursued that vision last year? Bring receipts, literally. How do we do it sharing the vision with our constituents? And lastly, what do we need to celebrate out loud? What do we need to celebrate out loud concerning the vision? I flew through those. Matt, any thoughts on those?
Yeah, well, number one, take a screenshot and use those. Yeah. But I think we said this earlier, but there's probably less reason to change up these prompts year to year. Like these could be the exact same prompts.
Exact same ones.
Because I think you guys will ought to realize your answers to these are going to change drastically, potentially year to year. So that the work is taken care of. But when you have your different individuals throughout the year that know these are the questions that they've got to be building up a case for, you're going to have those perspectives, and people are going to come in. That's why we say preparation, because you don't want to be like, okay. How did we share the vision with constituents last year? Well, let's get on Facebook. Let's
look at our social media, see what we did.
Yeah, see that. I got my Remind app here, looking through the different text messages. Like you can't waste everybody's time doing that. So there might just be things that somebody in that meeting said, I grabbed a few things that I saw that went out last year that I thought were really important, and I think it was a great job, and it's really helping us. Or I grabbed a couple things I didn't think was really helpful, or I highlighted in an opportunity where that we could have done it better here. But that's the kind of preparation you need. So when you get to these prompts, it's just boom, 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 and feeding into, yes, we're doing the job. We love where we are. Great job. Let's go commend everybody after this meeting. Or, guys, we got a lot of work to do. Yeah. And let's start thinking how we can assign these jobs out and start making progress towards that vision.
And it'll probably be a little bit of both. But two thoughts I have here as we're moving through this, which actually are novel for this evening. You could take one of these questions and talk about them all day. So you do have to know which one of these prompts you can talk about for the longest time without burning everybody out. The other thing I would say is, imagine if you actually had an answer for all of these prompts and they were written down and they were commented on by the different heads in the room, which, by the way, the different heads are going to see all these things very differently. And that's where the beauty of that cross-talk, cross-pollination comes in, because that's where the true core is understood. You will have done so much work towards your accreditation if you write down the answers and can actually have honest conversations about all these things. Your accreditation work will be so much easier time over time, because you'll have answered so many of those hard hitting questions, especially in like the opening chapters, the opening portions of those, even down to the, how did every one of our financial outlays pursue the vision this year? What a great prompt for us to consider that way. So really, these prompts are the golden part of this presentation. Absolutely.
Yeah. And as Mark said about, you could end up talking about any of these questions all day long. It's really important. I would add this. If you have in that leadership team just personalities that could easily just talk, that's where it's going to be really important to make sure you purpose to bring an individual that has their eye on the clock and says, guys, we've talked about this enough. We got to keep moving. And if you get a pusher, somebody that can just keep everybody on schedule, keep everything moving. I know when I think about that, I'm not really good. I would brainstorm all day long and just love it. So I need somebody that's there saying, hey, we've got other things to cover.
Well, we need to push it right now, because I want to take what Matt just said and I want to push it further and say, you're going to have people, and we talked about this as well, because someone made fun in our meeting. What if we have the people who won't want to come to this meeting? And my off the cuff, rather glib response was, get that person out of leadership. Because if they can't get out of bed for these questions, what are they doing in leadership? Who put them there and how can you get them out? It doesn't matter that they don't want to do it. If they're in a position whose job description includes annually, you will go and have these conversations and you'll be a part of vision setting. You'll be part of reviewing the vision and having impart and having impact on our possible vision, most likely mission. Then don't get involved in this seat. And shame on you if you do. And whoever needs to be the big boy is, put on your big boy pants and sit down and talk to them, because at some point that tears down the station, tears down the description of the job, tears down the role, and that person needs to be gone. So it doesn't really matter if you're, I don't like I'm bored, these big picture questions. Get over it. For this day, for these 2 days, for these 3 days, get over it. Your job is to be here and doing this to make this place stronger. We got to keep rolling. But as we were going to wrap this up, we would say vision is not the same as mission. Leadership needs an annual, formal, purposeful vision meeting. Make the day special for attendees. Don't make it a pain. Make it special. They'll have enough issues on their own. Make it awesome for them. Have dinner, have hotels, have breaks, have nice snacks, all that kind of stuff. Ask the hard questions.
I prefer having these vision meetings. Having these vision meetings in like a pool or a hot tub or something.
Absolutely. Be chill with it. But make sure you ask all the hard questions. There should be no other time in the meeting, in the year, where harder questions get asked than at this point. We got to roll, and we're going to roll straight into our Christian Administrator Spotlight, and that is going out to Mr. Joe Noreau. Mr. Joe Noreau of Sweet Haven Christian Academy. They're in Portsmouth, Virginia. And Matt's going to pray for you right away, Joe, because we're out of time. So, Matt, go for it.
Let's pray. Father, thank you so much for Joe and the ministry he has at Sweet Haven. And Lord, as he meets together with the leadership there, and they look at where their school is going, and they perhaps work in a vision meeting, I just pray that he would be encouraged with the support that he has, that he would be encouraged that they are pursuing excellence for your honor and glory. Pray that you would just work at him in a mighty way. Be with him physically, be with him mentally, spiritually, as he continues the good work that you have called him to there in Virginia. Pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Matt, thank you. Joe, God bless you. May your work thrive. Everybody else, please share our podcast with one person today. Beyond that, thanks for growing with us today.
We want to thank you for listening. We're honored that you spend this time with us each week. Our heart is to bring you practical conversations and resources that really serve you as a Christian school leader. One of the best ways you can help us spread the word is by leaving us a review and sharing the podcast with other Christian school principals you're connected with. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Join the conversation and share any posts that resonate with you. Every share makes a difference in helping more leaders find encouragement and practical tools. And remember, the podcast is just one way we help. We also love serving schools through speaking and workshops. Our keynotes and sessions are designed to give you actionable strategies you can take back to your team and implement right away. If you'd like more details, just send us an email at info@christianprinciplespodcast.com. We'd love to connect. Until next time, thanks for joining us on the Christian Principles Podcast.